MoxStars Podcast. I am Menace, one of your hosts, and I'm here with Rampage.
Yes, we are back. You have not lost a step. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, dude. I secretly been practicing in like the shower. Like it's one of those things where you're in the shower, no one can hear you except for your neighbors, and you just like, it's Rampage.
It gets a little echoey in there. You feel like you got that wonderful singing voice, very full volume. That's awesome.
Yeah, warm up with a little Lady Gaga.
Sure.
This is the MoxStars Podcast, the #1 podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering, Dr. Pepper, what else? The sickest tokens in all of the land. We have 9 different tokens right now. You can check them out on our Etsy store. If you would like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms by leaving us a 5-star review. You make us look super duper cool, but I don't think you can really make us look cooler than my shirt today. So definitely get over to YouTube, check it out. I am wearing the cutest, fluffiest shirt of all time. Oh, selfie time.
We're back, baby. I just had to capture it on film.
Yes, we're capturing the moment. You can also support us via Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead. Like Gabe, Matt Goyen, definitely Jeremy, Mono Greg, UWP Quird, Will Rule, Blue Boy Barry, Ryan G, and Adam. You can also support us by becoming a member of the MoxStars fan club and have your name turned squirt green, like person. If you join the Pepperheads, you can have your name turned Dr. Pepper Red. Looks super schmexy on the Discord server. You can also just join the Discord server and be awesome and not be a spam bot. If you are a spam bot, I will ban you so quick. I'm lightning fast. It's happened twice. I'm so quick. But yeah, we're back, baby. And today we are talking about some of the new cards from Marvel Superheroes. But even though it's been almost, 2 months?
2 months for sure.
I've been practicing my eyebrow game, and reacting, and when I hear you talk, I'm gonna do some hand motions with new elements to the show that we're adding that other popular shows do.
Also practice in the shower.
Yes, also practice in the shower. We are talking about some of the new cards, but even though it's been a while, it doesn't feel like we've really missed a lot that's happening in Magic the Gathering lately. So, and the real reason that we're coming back is obviously this is a huge change and a huge improvement to a deck that we love here at the MoxStars Podcast, which is TAYAM Luminous Enigma. So
yeah, I feel like when we last left our heroes, we were talking about like Marvel spoilers. Like that's what was in the conversation. Those were what the Reddit post was about. And now Marvel just released. That's what we have. You can just now buy these cards on TCG Player. So,
and you can do so with our affiliate link.
We now have confirmation of like what's good and what's out there and what people are using. If you go to Scryfall, you don't have to do this now. Do it on your own time, listener. Go to Scryfall, search both the Marvel set and the Marvel Commander decks. Just do a search for that in Scryfall and then sort by EDH rec popularity. It's a little sad. The cards that are getting played are not much to talk about, but there is a few we definitely need to highlight.
Yeah, it's very important to note the distinction between what is powerful and what is popular. And a lot of the time, what is popular is not generally as powerful as it could be, because it's also reflected in the market. Like Shang-Chi, which is a big card we're going to talk about today, not very expensive. It's like a $10 card. So I will implore you, dear listener, this is not financial advice, but I will say that if you were to buy a card at its lowest point, it is now. It is now. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But since we've been gone for so long, we are kind of like wanting to catch up with, Rampage and I have, been catching up off camera, but we want to catch up with you guys on the show with what we have been up to. So, Rampage, kick us off, man. What have you been doing for the last little bit?
It does feel like in a relationship, we took a break, and we're trying to explore other things. I haven't played TAYAM since we left each other. I've been exploring other decks. I've been messing with Shang-Chi quite a bit. Drinking a Mountain Dew. It was good to get away to try some different things, but now we can appreciate what we have.
Hey, community out there, shun him in the comments. Shun him in the comments. It is Dr. Pepper for life.
I did have, while I was out, some Dr. Pepper Tic Tacs.
Oh.
Some Dr. Pepper brats. I left my review in the MoxStars Discord. So definitely haven't given up on the 23 flavors. But Shang-Chi, I heard about this deck as a concept. Me and some buddies were going to a tournament, and I wanted to give it a shake. And holy cats! So my biggest bugaboo when I'm playing the Yam is I don't have access to card draw. I see that person over there with the Ristic Study, and nobody's paying their taxes. They're just letting the Ristic Study player draw 1,000 cards. So I thought, maybe I do that. Maybe I'm thinking I want to draw some cards.
Very interesting.
I put my... I want to throw my Ristic out there. And what better way to do it than Shang-Chi, which is Ristic Study the deck. Play every copy spell on the planet and just eat up those draw triggers. And you know what? Spoiler alert, people don't pay for Ristic Study.
No, no.
What are the play-to-win guys' names? Do you remember?
Dylan and Cam?
Not Cam. So it's Dylan. Dylan is like the master of all things eyebrows.
He's eyebrow king, but Cam is gesture master. Like,
sure.
Yeah, where he's just like,
when he like forgets something or loses his train of thought, and he's like, he does his little like hair shake.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yeah, clearly here at the MoxStars podcast, we don't have a lot of hair, so we can't quite mimic them. Yeah, so you've been testing out this new deck and like loving the elements that you didn't have previously, like in TAYAM.
Yeah, it's so well laid out. Like, okay, so your beginning plan is always turn one ROG and understanding all of the power that's associated with just having a commander on the board and what it turns on and what it enables. And then there's the Ristic Study plan, which is always number one. You can do a few other things. We were like deck building and concepting, and we were questioning like the use of Hullbreaker Horror and like, this is 7 mana and how often are you going to get there? I won half of the games I won were off of Hullbreaker Horror.
Yeah. To me, that makes a lot of sense because it's like Rog-Rack and Hullbreaker Horror go hand in hand because then your mana positive rock is a Soul Ring or, literally anything else. Mox Opal's probably in your list. And Mox Amber. Mox Amber. Yeah, Mox Amber and Rog go infinite with Hullbreaker Horror. So you might as well.
There was and like other cards I questioned, like Stormkiln Artist, like whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, make a treasure.
Yeah.
There were turns where I had to win and I wanted to pop off, and I Chain of Vapored my own board just to put everything back in my hand to get me the mana that the Ska made me, so I could cast my Hullbreaker Horror and then recast all the stuff in my hand to go mana positive and make infinite mana. Like,
wow. Yeah.
Just all of the and then once you get through that, once you play through other people's stacks and interact, and you become like politics the deck because you're like, I have one counter spell, like I need you to not push, the backup plan is Ishai. It's Ishai beats, and that's a real threat. So I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it. It was super cool. I'm glad I did it. I tore apart 14 decks to make this one. Like I had all of my pieces in other decks.
Yeah.
But the gang's all back together, and we're ready to mill 3 and return a 3-drop.
Yes. I'm glad we circled back to our one true love.
And what about you? What's been going on in the Menace world?
Well, I have been pretty menacing, to be honest. It's been a lot of like creative deck construction. And I think that like cEDH has been a community that I haven't really been I haven't been participating in tournaments in a long time. Like what I've learned from cEDH and what I continue to like learn by paying attention to the format is valuable in my ability to build appropriately powered decks for my pods, for my friends and stuff like that. So I have 3, we talked about Annihilator on one of the episodes a while back, and now I've been playing that deck a lot, and it is a ton of fun. It's something that I don't bore of really at all. It always shows me a different line. There was a game I was playing with Annihilator, who's on a camping trip, which is why he's not on this episode. But I was playing with him, and I landed in. He looked at my hand with a Gitaxian Probe very early in the game, and he saw that I had a Parallel Lives. Well, he didn't see that I picked up Anointed Procession, so I discarded the Parallel Lives, and I was like, that's going to be my reanimation target, so better watch out. So he saw that I was only at 4 mana, not 5 mana, so I cast the Anointed Procession instead, and then he's like, oh, so when you reanimate that Parallel Lives, it's going to be, it's going to be disgusting after that.
You're going to have to do math. You're going to have to pull out a calculator.
Yes, yeah, you're going to have to pull out a calculator. Well, here's the thing is I didn't actually grab Parallel Lives. I threw another card into the graveyard that is far more powerful than Parallel Lives. So I discovered this interaction in the midst of playing it. Yeah. It's Renewed Solidarity, which, if you've never heard of this card, it's 2 and a white for an enchantment that says when it enters, you choose a creature type. And then creatures you control of that type get +1/+0. And then at the beginning of your end step, for each token you created that shares a creature type with the chosen type, create another token copy. So it's a token doubler. And Annihilator notably creates zombies. So what I did was then I cast Annihilator, and then I target the Renewed Solidarity. So I get 2 copies of it. And then it sees, they see each other. So it's going to see itself because it's a zombie token. And so it's going to see itself. It's going to get a copy of itself. But then it's also going to see the other one. So for each one, 2, oh, well, a 90% is out, so it creates 4. So I created 8 additional copies at the end step. So I had 10 in total. And then, so every zombie gets +10/+0. And then any zombie tokens that I create moving forward, I'm going to create 20 additional copies of. So I had over 100 power on the battlefield with literally just 1 cast of my commander and 1 token doubler, which was just, now multiple, up to 11 token doublers on the battlefield at one time. So that's my new favorite card to target when I'm playing Annihilator is Renewed Solidarity. So it's a really powerful card. If you haven't played the deck before, I have the list. I'll put it in the description below. You should check it out. Proxy it, put it together. It's pretty expensive otherwise because I put a Gaia's Cradle and I put a Serra Sanctum in there because you're creating enchantment creatures. So both of them are equally powerful in the deck. That's the whole reason I love Serra Sanctum so much, by the way. It's because I feel like enchantments are,
Sure.
Yeah. So
make it a million mana or whatever.
Yeah, I make a million. Do that. So we're gesturing broadly for all the people who are listening to us via audio. We're gesturing broadly and moving our eyebrows a lot. And then I built another deck called Codis the Fangbearer, which is Sultai Villainous Wealth on a creature. I call that deck Coitus.
Sure.
Coitus the Fangbearer.
You're allowed to do that. Okay.
Yeah. Very interesting commander I have. And it likes to go punch, but you're going to love this. It is the perfect mutate commander.
I do love this. Tell me more.
Yeah, I'll send you the list. It's a mutate deck. and that is another budget build that I made. It's not a budget build, but it ended up being very budget friendly. Like all the mutate cards are incredibly cheap. So it's an indestructible body that generates card advantage. So you get to do a lot of fun things with that. So I played that I've only played that once, and that was last week. And it also, just as you do in coitus, it definitely does the F word.
Okay.
Yeah. So that deck's a lot of fun. But most recently, I have been engrossed in this budget league I was invited to. So I built this $50 Ford Explorer. Just now the deck list.
Before we get into like the deck itself,
yes,
tell me about this budget league. Like, provide me some context. Like, what's the goal? What's the mission? Is there any rules we need to be aware of while we go through this?
Yeah. So as we're like going through the deck list, you can use either TCG Player or this other platform called Mana Pool, which is what I chose to use for my deck list. So you can use Mana Pool low or TCG Player low to price your decks. So it's $50 limit. And the other notable rule or two notable rules, no soul ring. You can't have a soul ring at all.
Okay.
So, and then the other rule is that no card can be more than $10. So every week your budget will increase by, I think, $5. And then or it's every week or every 2 weeks, something like that. And then after that, the max price goes up by $2. So you can have a card that is up to $12 once that budget increase happens. And then the next one, you could get $5 more to put towards your budget, but then $14 can be like the highest price of a card that you can have in your deck. So you can mold and your deck can be very malleable and stuff like that throughout the course of this. You can't change your commander until the budget increase. So like once you have to commit to this for a couple weeks time, and then after you commit to it, once a budget increase happens, you can then switch your commander, build something completely new, something completely different if you'd like. But I invested in this deck. I'm very confident in this build. So I even invested in it so hard that I bought all the P Gold basic lands from this very particular set that came out. Very, very cool set. The coolest, some might say. Ether Drift. And this commander comes directly from Ether Drift. But I, with my budget league, decided to build Samut, the Driving Force. So if you're unfamiliar with Samut, the Driving Force, it is 3 and Naya, so 6 total mana for a human warrior cleric. It has First Strike, Vigilance, Haste, and Start Your Engines. If you're unfamiliar with Start Your Engines, well, I don't blame you. It's a very easily forgettable mechanic. But Start Your Engines is when a creature with Start Your Engines enters the battlefield, you can track your speed. Your speed starts at 1, and your speed can increase only on your turn when an opponent is dealt damage, and only once per your turn. So this is why Start Your Engines never really saw any or carried any weight in Commander, was because it's like, well, there's no way to the benefit isn't large enough. There's no way to really hit the ceiling here with this in a reasonable amount of time. 3 cycles around the table before you can hit max speed. The game's usually over by then, and nobody's going to pay attention to that. So yeah, it's another outside mechanic that you have to track. But Samut's ability.
Can I pause you there? You made a comment that Start Your Engines never really made it in Commander. Did it really make it anywhere? That's not me being facetious. Did it make it anywhere? Did anyone do anything with it?
I think that the only thing that Start Your Engines is really viable in is in mono red standard right now. So like, and the only reason is for this one card, and that's Burnout Bastronaut. It's a 1 mana goblin that has Menace. So it's easy to get through with it, but then it has an ability that says you can pay 2, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So it has evasion, it's easier to get through. Later in the game, once you get max speed, this creature has double strike. So then it becomes a double strike menace that has the ability to pump for additional power. So that's the only really viable thing that's ever come out of like Start Your Engines. There's also the Howl Squad Heavy, which was played in standard for a very brief moment of time. But for when you get max speed, Howl Squad Heavy says you can tap and add red for each goblin you control. Other goblins you control have haste. At the beginning of combat in your turn, create a 1/1 goblin, and then that token attacks this combat if able. So that's probably... Howl Squad Heavy is by far the most expensive Start Your Engines card from Ether Drift. Like, the ability to create a goblin and then to have the potential upside of adding mana for each goblin you control is attractive enough for in standard, but not really in Commander. There are just other cards that do that. And you don't have to pay attention to speed or max speed or whatever. So Sumut's other abilities are actually very interesting. So not only does she have First Strike, Vigilance, and Haste, which means that when she comes down, it's likely that she's going to punch and increase your speed again, putting you at 2. So other creatures you control get +X/+O, where X is your speed. So it entering the battlefield is going to give your creatures +1/+O immediately. That's if speed has not been counted so far in the game. And then non-creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is your speed. So this is another ability that we talked with my brother, who we had on the show, talking about Longshot Rebel Bowman. And Longshot's primary ability, it has 2 lines of text that are relevant. It says non-creature spells you control, or non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast, and then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Longshot deals 2 damage to each opponent. So I asked my brother how valuable that line of text was. How valuable is non-creature spells costing 1 less to cast, in your deck? He said it's the most important thing. It's literally what the entire deck is built around. Like all the rituals in mana red, or like in mono red, to be able to like generate mana, saving mana. Burgi does all these things, and then you get to run into all of your artifact lines. You can create, cast artifacts for free, like Sensei's Divining Top, and combos turns out to be pretty good. So I asked him, I was like, what if you could have your non-creature spells cost 4 less to cast? And he was like, excuse me. And I was like, let me introduce you to this really cool card. So this deck ends up being calculated out to $57.68 at the time of this recording. Now you're wondering, it's a $50 budget. How could you possibly? Well, I had to wiggle a little bit here, right? All your basic lands do not count towards your budget. So on Mana Pool, the lowest that your cards can possibly cost is 15 cents. Like on Card Kingdom, the lowest that a card can cost is 35 cents. But on TCG Player, some cards can cost 2 cents or 3 cents. But on Mana Pool, 15 cents is the max. So I have 22 basic lands at 15 cents each. That subtracts about $3.20 or $3.15 off of the total here. So now we're down to $54. Well, the Royal Talon Fighter Jet, marked at $3.64, I found for cheaper on Card Kingdom. So that was another submission that I made to reduce the total cost there. And then Jetmir is a big part of the budget build at $8.90. I found a cheaper version on TCG Player. So I was able to basically say, can I price match? That was something that I ran by the, I'm using this platform, but I was wondering, can I price match? And so I was able to get it down to just under $50 with 2 cards price matching to get me there. So the deck is a lot of fun. And so I put a lot of vehicles in it because those are non-creature spells. Like that was something that for the longest time I've wanted to build. It's going to sound stupid. It's going to sound really, really stupid. Okay. I've really wanted.
This is a safe space.
I don't know. With your eyebrows going all over the place, I'm feeling pretty judged. Oh my God. They're moving all over the place. I've wanted for so long to build Mech Titan. So like I put the Mech Titan core in here. If you're unfamiliar, it's a vehicle for 2 colorless mana that says you can pay 5 mana, exile Mech Titan core and 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles you control. Create Mech Titan, a legendary 10/10 construct artifact creature token with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, and haste. That's all colors. When that token leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with Mech Titan core except Mech Titan core to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. Wah. That's a lot. That it's a lot of text, and you get to create this massive 10/10. It was, at one point standard legal merit lodge. And I've always wanted to make that. But they made a secret layer. This is where it gets even dumber. They made a secret layer that was Hot Wheels, right? It wasn't specifically branded Hot Wheels, but they made those ones that looked like they were like packaged cars.
Oh, yep.
It's Mech Titan core. It's Reckoner Bankbuster. It's Smuggler's Copter. It's Peace Walker Colossus. And Parhelion 2. I think that's 5. Yeah. But it's those 5 vehicles and Mech Titan core. And they all came in the secret layer. And the bonus card was the Mech Titan token in the same format. So I wanted to put that whole secret layer into this deck and make it work. And so those vehicles all found a home here. And so I also, I just wanted to be able to cast them for free, cast them for cheap. And then they all get power boosted by Sumut's other ability. So that was a really cool element of the deck. Flavorful, powerful in a budget league. I don't want to get too lost in the sauce there with that, but
I do got to pause you just for one quick Mech Titan core story.
Let's go.
It happened to me. I will never forget it. UWP Quirt, thank you for this memory. I will live with it forever. UWP Quirt, longtime fan of the channel, played this in a Brutaclad list.
Oh, baby.
Turn all your tokens into all your tokens.
Yes.
And forgot token was legendary. And wiped his whole board with.
Let's go. You got to keep
goes,
one.
Oh, I gotta take that out of the stack.
Or you got to put Mirror Room in the deck. Something. You got to change that.
Pick one. Pick a lane.
Yep. Oh my God. Yeah. It's such a fun card. And it's impossible to, I wish they would have done obviously a Voltron like secret layer or something like that to make it happen. But I get it. That's the spirit behind the design. So Sumut's ability to make non-creature spells cost X less to cast, where X is your speed, is also very relevant for planeswalkers, for, some playing Chandra Sparkhunter, Vivian on the Hunt. But the most important thing that I believe, and this is the last point I'll talk on, and I'll let you guys make your own judgments on the deck list in the comments below. But the win conditions for the deck are like, if not beats, which is viable, like beats is good, it is through buyback spells. So there are 2 buyback spells that I have in the list. I think I have 3 buyback spells that are in the list. Sprout Swarm, which has seen a relatively large increase in play due to Witherbloom, because instants and sorceries you have affinity for creatures. So Sprout Swarm becomes a 1 mana buyback, 1 green mana, and it has Convoke. So once you create 1 Saproling, you just tap each Saproling you create and you cast Sprout Swarm infinitely to create infinite creatures, and then you have infinite affinity for the next instant or sorcery you decide to cast. Or you just have infinite creatures and it's instant. It's an instant. So you can do it on someone's end step and create infinite things and then attack out for the game. So I put that in here because the buyback is 3 and the cost is 1 and a green. So if you have max speed It's the same exact thing as if you were to control Witherbloom. So it just costs 1 green mana to get it going, and then all of a sudden every sprout just, every Saproling taps for the green mana necessary to cast and buy back Sprout Swarm. So that's a very interesting line, an infinite loop that's in this deck. And then we have Searing Touch, which is 1 red mana with a buyback for 4. So Samut's idea here is to pay for the buyback, but then you have to generate the red somehow. So I put in Stormkiln Artist, and I put in Electro, Assaulting Battery. These are the 2 cheapest options for creatures that have this ability that, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, add red mana, or whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create a treasure token in the case of Ska here. And then the last thing is Haze of Rage. So this one also needs a little bit of help from, Electro, or you don't need the help because you can cast it for as many times as you have red mana, and it's still a very effective spell, but it's 1 in a red for a sorcery with buyback for 2. So Samut will pay for all that colorless. And then creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. And then it has Storm. So you cast it once, you get the Haze of Rage, and then you cast it again. You get 2 more, and then you cast it again for 1 more. So that's 3 red mana, and you have 6 copies of Haze of Rage. So it really depends on how much red mana you have. But if you have Electro, or if you have Stormkiln Artist goes crazy. It just generates so much mana off of Haze of Rage. But then your creatures are infinitely powerful, and you can hopefully trample through with something like Ovia, Automech Artisan, that says each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. So a political card that also has an Elvish Piper effect on it for creatures or vehicles. Very interesting. So this deck looks to be a lot of fun. I put in removal spells like Slaughter the Strong because even though I do have 18 creatures in the build, I really only want to control 1, and that's Samut. And Samut falls under the just on the line for Slaughter the Strong. And then all of my other creatures are going to be hopefully vehicles. So they stay safe from that because they're not creatures at the time. I'm playing Bootlegger's Stash, by the way.
How do you feel about that?
It's my first cut. Oh my God. When that card was announced, everyone went crazy. Like, oh my God, what's Wizards of the Coast thinking?
I paid $13 for that card. I was one of them.
Ooh. Oh my God. Everyone thought treasures were going to be like, oh man, you got to have this card. This is so busted.
Well, we were coming off of like treasure is how you play Commander, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I bought the borderless foil. I remember when it came out, it was like $60 or $70. $4. It's $4 now, just so you know. The artwork is sick, by the way. But the card is relatively weak, which is why it costs 15 cents towards my budget. I will report back with more on this budget build, but we got to keep moving on to the main section of today's episode. 35 minutes in. Congratulations if you made it this far. Well, it's been a minute, so we got a lot to talk about, but at the same time, not a lot.
You stayed long enough for the most important part, which is us talking about Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Menace, do you want to read this card for us?
Yes, so Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. 1 in a green, legendary creature, human warrior hero. A mythic from Marvel Superheroes. A 2/2 that says you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. And then tap. Add 2 mana of any one color. Spend that mana only to activate abilities of creature sources. And the flavor text. Many underestimate me because I carry no weapon, but I am the weapon. I probably could have let up on the movie theater voice there for a second, but I went through. I just went all the way through.
I'm glad you held out to the end because I hadn't yet read the flavor text. That's tough. That was. I'm glad you took it out. That was cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking about like Marvel, Shang-Chi, like live action, he would have said it like this. Many underestimate me because I carry no weapon, but I am the weapon. So I didn't know if it was like worthwhile to like say it like that or not. That was a wimpy joke. He's very wimpy in this TV show. All right. This creature, it does a lot, right? It does a lot, and not only does it do a lot, it is your secondary Tyvar in creature form. So not only does it give you that ability that is so sought after, this is really what I wanted to ask you, was, you know, the best card in TAYAM has universally, and no question, has been Devoted Druid. Right? Devoted Druid is just the best card for TAYAM because it can remove itself. It can put itself in the grave before it's exiled. It can do a lot of things. It can, you know, it is your combo piece. It is the strongest card in the deck. This becomes a very, very close second because it does all of the things that TAYAM wants to do, except for provide counters. But the power that this has, you know, just like go through a few angles of what TAYAM can do with this is it's 2 mana. It is a 3 mana Green Sun Zenith away from being on the battlefield. It is incredibly cheap to pull with a Finale of Devastation or even a Nature's Rhythm. So like it's very easy to get to the battlefield without, you know, I think you're still going for Devoted Druid. Like regardless, like, if you don't have Devoted Druid somewhere in play in your hand, in the graveyard, on the battlefield, then you're probably going to tutor out the Devoted Druid, and then Shang-Chi comes next. But I do think that this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, you, this is your second target now, all the time.
Yep. I would throw my hat in the ring for BMC, Badger Mole Cub. Love that guy. Another great, powerful. But the reason it's so good is because it makes your things tap for 2 mana. This taps for 2 mana on its own.
Yeah.
We love Tyvar, the Jubilant Brawler. And so many cards in our deck are revolved around getting Devoted Druid. But once you have it, the rest of the cards that typically go get the Devoted Druid don't go get Tyvar. Now we have Tyvar Light in creature form that also provides us mana to keep going. We love getting more opportunities, and especially in a deck in the way I have it built, Motion Sickness, which is abusing the tapping and untapping of our creatures. This is most of my equation. The 2 mana is nice. The 2 butt makes it safer from Orcish Bowmaster. I've always felt in such a powerful position once I've had the Tyvar out, giving all my creatures this haste-like ability. Now I have a way of doing it in a way that gets me a counter, in a way that gets me mana, where Tyvar was not doing that before. So he might give me a counter with the bug or some mana with the thingy untaps, but now I have it in one nice, cute, concise, mono-colored package.
Yeah, in the fact that it's just like the mana is exclusive. I think this is where people are maybe undervaluing the card, is because of like the exclusivity of it. Spend this mana only to activate abilities of creature sources. This is an effect that's only going to be powerful in very limited capacities, but in those capacities, they're the most powerful effects that you can play in Commander. So in TAYAM, in Thrasios, in, you know, a couple other things. Like this probably sees play in Thrasios just because when you get a Training Grounds down, this is an activation, you know?
Yeah. I didn't know, because it's a legend, it's only 1 color. I didn't know if this was a Sisay card.
2 mana of any 1 color. So
because you just need to, like, once you're doing a Sisay pop off turn, like you need your whatever your Bloom Tender to come in and make you the mana, or your Fabro Elder to come in and make you the mana, like right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it could because you're of the ability to search. And Sisay has to search legends, right?
Yep.
So I wonder if like Gigantha is like something that like this and Gigantha maybe on the battlefield at the same time would be nice.
I don't know. What we did learn, we had some conversations about this. This is not a Kinnan card. It's got words Kinnan might like, but this is not a Kinnan card.
You would have to be shoehorning it so hard. I feel like you had to be forcing it to play this.
Sure.
Where like
you could like make it work 100%.
Yeah. But the important thing about Kinnan is that the creatures that you're tapping can also contribute towards your Hullbreaker lines to like create infinite mana. I guess that would be my one thing is like, oh, you could replay your creatures and then tap them for mana for Hullbreaker lines would be my Shang-Chi argument. But I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it really fits in there. It's a human. It doesn't do it.
But we're back. We're back talking about TAYAM, the MoxStars podcast. We're back playing TAYAM in tournament Magic. And part of my draw, part of what brought me back to TAYAM is this guy right here. And I'm super excited to plug it in. I am not excited to cut a card.
Yeah, this is the other thing is like this becomes an immediate auto add into TAYAM. Like it just is. Like like Tyvar being 3 mana and having that ability. The upside of Tyvar is that you can minus it and it gives you like a TAYAM activation, like a pseudo TAYAM activation. So sure. This doesn't give you that, but it does give you that ability that's so valuable. And at being able to activate abilities as though they had haste, too good to pass up. So this is an auto include now. The next card we're going to talk about, is it an auto include? Let's find out. It's called Hammerhead Magia Boss. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not really a Marvel aficionado, but it's 1 in a black for legendary creature, human rogue villain. This is an uncommon from the Eternal Legal set. It says sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on Hammerhead. So this is an ability that existed on Bartolome for like ever since Lost Caverns of Ixalan that now that card was an auto include, but now we have this other card that it for 1 less pip for does that pip matter so much? I don't know, but this does the same exact thing. So seems worthy of playing. It's what are your thoughts on this? Does it just immediately flex out Bartolome?
I think so. Obviously, like you want to say it's strictly better, right? Because we're replacing colorless pip for a white pip, right? But the concern becomes for things like Fabro Elder and Bloom Tender, we actually lose that color. It's a bad thing.
Well, not with Fabro. With Fabro, it already has the white.
Oh, so, true.
It'd be exclusively to like a knock on Bloom Tender. But
sure.
I mean, Bloom Tender has TAYAM.
If that's the only downside, then maybe I'm okay with that. Like with the inclusions of the Cabbage Merchant making you a bunch of foods, if you tap those foods for mana, and now we have another card that gives us access to sacking artifacts for counters. I don't know. Maybe I'm excited. Maybe I'm playing 2 of these.
Yeah. Could be it.
There's power here. There's something to talk about. Even if it swaps out for Bartolome, we're not losing anything else other than that white pip.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's being overlooked, I feel like. I didn't even know it existed until you brought it up today. But I think it's being overlooked because it does the same exact thing as a card that has been now recognized as a staple in TAYAM. But I think that it takes such a long time for us to accept something into that into that group of 99 that I'm a little reluctant to boot it out for this, even though it is just strictly better because it is more like less mana intensive. So, yeah, it even has a secret layer printing already. Cool.
Yeah. He's eyeing up that piece of ass hanging out of the window.
He totally is. Oh my God. Yeah, great artwork. That's definitely the peak version here. Annie Wu, you did great. So these two cards are immediate additions for TAYAM Luminous Enigma. While TAYAM has been notably labeled as the best stacks commander in cEDH, we've seen some changes to the build that have allowed it to become faster. Like in the most recent version of Motion Sickness, you've cut your opposition agent, you've cut your collector oof, and you've opted for more speed, right? Aethersworn Canonist has probably been in your list for a long time. But you've leaned more into Archon of Emeria, Eidolon of Rhetoric as those stacks pieces and tried to slim things down for the sake of speed. I feel like Shang-Chi helps increase the speed of the deck ever so slightly. I wonder if there are ways to like make it go infinite or be able to untap it in ways that you can generate infinite creature ability mana. To be seen, to be determined. We don't like to have two cards that need to interact with each other within the 99. It's just best if they do something alone. I digress. I do think that is a card that helps TAYAM move a little bit quicker and helps compete with turbo decks a little bit more effectively moving forward. Having more than one Tyvar effect is... Oftentimes you're just sitting there activating TAYAM until you hit Tyvar, and then you can explode and go crazy. So having one more of those effects that's easier to fetch. I don't know, maybe Tyvar gets cut. There's like a chance for that since it's a much easier piece to tutor to the battlefield with all the other cards that you're playing already.
Yeah. You did bring up one point, I guess I thought was super powerful. I hadn't thought of before. I want to touch on, like, I did cut the oof. Right? Because that's one card in the deck, and I'm just praying I see it. You know, I need that oof just to keep up with all of the other decks at the table that are playing 15, 16 mana rocks. Well, since leaving the oof, I've added 4 mana rocks to the deck that are what we would consider fast mana, right?
Yeah.
I have 4 times the chance of seeing those cards in my opening hand. So instead of trying to stop those, banking on the 1 in my 99, I have 4 chances to compete, to play, to go fast and get some of my other stacks pieces out. So even if they are a little faster than me, their speed no longer matters. Now I have these once per turn clauses on my creatures, and people have extra mana to pay for Rhystic Study. So nobody's getting extra advantage for free because there's nothing else they can do. We're talking about Shang-Chi and maybe even the Hammerhead, all these cool new inclusions. How much do you think one card helps a deck?
Yeah, this is an important discussion. Like if you were to say, like, create the perfect card for your chosen commander, how much can one card improve a single deck outside of the commander? In TAYAM, does Shang-Chi improve TAYAM enough to help it get over the hump to be to increase? I would say, what would be the threshold to say that it changes the deck so much? I think like right now, if you go to EDH top 16 and look, the percentages of decks that are being played, right? The meta share for Blue Farm is 8.82%, right? And then we go down and TAYAM is at a 1.02 meta share, 1.02% meta share. I think for a deck to become significantly better, it would have to increase by 2%, because then you're looking up and you're looking at competing with Sisse, Weatherlight Captain, which it would be like if you were to increase TAYAM's meta share by 2%, it would be the 6th most played deck in cEDH, right? I feel like that is a significant improvement to a deck, right? Does this help it enough to get there? And I don't know if it moves the needle enough. So how, like, if you were to create the perfect card for your chosen deck, like,
Yep.
how much can one card improve a deck at this point with how figured out so many decks have become? Like in Italy, like World War Hulk was a card that everyone was super stoked on. Like it's another way to like cast Italy. It's another thing to like roll into that would give you another cast. So does that improve Italy? Like I would wager to say that it doesn't improve it enough.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we could like go back in time, and I'm sure there's a way of doing this, but like look at Magda's share before like Clown Car got printed, right? Or you know, these perfect cards that were like, oh my god, that's a Magda card, you know?
Yeah.
Can crew stuff, and it, you know, the magical artifact creature or vehicle, excuse me, that crews and has changeling, like picture the perfect Magda card, right? Do you think that goes up a huge percentage? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, so the most recent set that I think was affected, that had affected Magda, was Bloomborough. Like it's
because of changeling stuff.
Yeah, because of the changeling stuff. Barkform Harvester and 3-Tree Mascot. Both are like 3-Tree Mascot allows you to filter colorless mana into colored mana, which can only do it once per turn. And then Barkform Harvester says you can pay 2 to put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library, which is important for combo lines that involve you sacrificing artifacts. And then after you've generated the infinite treasures, Barkform Harvester can then like take these things and just recycle them so you can keep tutoring them out onto the battlefield. Pretty interesting lines there. Apparently in this list, Meteor Sword was viable in Magda. It's a tutorable non-creature artifact that comes in and destroys target permanent. So interesting, very interesting. But if you were to create the perfect card, how many cards would you have to create to give Magda a significant boost? Let's see. Magda is currently, gosh, I just saw it. I swear to God. Magda is at a 1.70% meta share. Like, how many cards would you have to put into it to make it increase to the 3% threshold that I think would qualify it to be a significant increase in power? I don't know if such a card could be created that would exist that wouldn't just break every deck. I think that's, with Shang-Chi, I feel like it's the perfect TAYAM card. It's not perfect, right? If it said Shang-Chi is a 0/0, enters with 3+1/+1 counters, and then taps. And that does. That's pretty good. It's literally just the TAYAM activation. Like, let's say that they created that card though, right? Let's say they created the card that says it's a 0/0, enters with 3+1/+1 counters, taps for 3 mana. The mana is restrictive to activating creature abilities. Creatures you control can activate their abilities as though they had haste. Shang-Chi on crack, right? If you created that card, would that push TAYAM? Or is it because the 99 is like you're just praying to see that card? Like, does that make it like it just doesn't make the deck consistent enough to push it to that 3% meta share threshold? I don't know if there is such a we look at we were talking about I was giving you grief about playing Rograk before, right? And we talked about why are you playing Rograk in Rog ish, Rog Shy. I hate that name. I hate it. But it's like, and you're just playing it so that you can put down a commander on turn 1 for free, and then for 0, and then you get access to Deflecting Swap, Fierce Guardianship, and Mox Amber immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, it's potentially a Mox Ruby in the command zone. So
yep. In Infernal Plunge, J Will's Live, like that's
yeah.
the only is.
Yeah, Springleaf Drum is live, like there's another thing. And so it's, ban it. Maybe another episode. We talked about that. But, it's like when you're playing a commander that is just a single commander that is multiple colors, it's hard to theorize what could push it enough to get over certain decks like Rograk or like these things or like Tymna. And I just don't think it's possible. I think the split commander partner thing is just too valuable. And I don't think there's one card that would be created that, unless it broke Magic, that could help push a deck up over that 3% meta share threshold. So
I think it's good. I think it's powerful. We should be pushing in directions that make things individually, in a vacuum. Not in a vacuum, in a very specific scenario, powerful, right? That's good. It gives us more flexibility. It gives us more meta variety instead of partner commanders that are playing generic stuff turbo. All these cards are just good and they get slammed in the deck. It feels like every set we get some card that, this actually combos with this monocolor legend from Theros. And there's always this weird niche scenario, and then we never see it. You never see it at a competitive table. You never see it on top 16. So it does take truly something special, and I don't think there's a World War I card.
No, I think the most influential card we saw that permeated through all decks, for at least for 2 years, was probably the One Ring, where it was like, you just put it in it. You just put it in the deck because it offered you protection, and then it also drew you 3 cards for 4 mana over the course of 2 turns. That was powerful enough at the time, but even now, I think some decks have moved off of the One Ring in favor of speed and rituals. Or I've heard some people say that they would rather play some instants and sorceries that draw 3 cards for 4 mana rather than wait 2 turns to be able to cast the one, or to get the effect from the One Ring. So sure. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. If I were to create the perfect card for Shalai Halar, which is still my chosen deck that I like to play, I don't even know what that card would be unless it said, for 1 green mana, you could tutor a red legend with 4 mana value to the battlefield for free. Or some sort of sneak attack from the command zone, I think would be another thing that I would consider. An enchantment that said you could sneak attack from the command zone would be something I would be curious to play. But other than that, perfect cards, I don't really know what you could possibly make to make that deck seem. In Shalai Halar's case, it's probably literally 0.00001% of the meta share. And so for it to be able to get to a 0.1% of the meta share, I think would be a significant, a huge increase to that deck's playability. So, very interesting thought to have when it comes to cEDH and how rock solid I think the meta looks. Is what would you have to do to push Lumra up to a 3% meta share? What would you have to do to shake up? It would have to be a card that's printed that would shake up the meta so dramatically that it would uproot a lot of the expectations you have at a tournament. I think if you were to walk through the doors at a tournament, you would absolutely expect to see Blue Farm Kinnan, Rogthras, Rogsai, Timthras, Those are all things you're going to see at every single table. You're probably going to see an Atali at most tables you sit down at. cEDH is so stale right now, which is why I thought the conversation was worth having. Is like, what would you need to do to like shake the shit up a little bit? Because it's, yeah, like you're beating your head against the wall constantly with TAYAM, because you're trying to make something work. You're trying to like outdo these proven decks constantly, and it's difficult. It's an uphill battle all the time. And for once in our lives, it would be great to not feel like the underdog, okay? Is that too much to ask?
Everyone else is just drawing so many cards.
Yeah.
I haven't been on EDH top 16 sometime. We talked about this in like December. Rowan Sign of War is in the top 20. That's kind of dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where if left unchecked for a single turn, I feel like it can run away with it. Give it enough time. Glarb is still up there. That's nice to see. Yeah, cEDH. Yeah, it's well established. I think you would have to print something pretty terrific to crack the top 20 right now. I think for a while it was Ashling, the 5-color elemental. That was very interesting, that people were very intrigued by. But I think Aang at the Crossroads is something where it's like you get one cast and I think you just play your entire library and win. The Wandering Minstrel is another 5-color commander that is up here in the top. It's in the top 30, but it's not quite up there. It's got a 0.5% meta share. So yeah, there's all these new cards that come in and have a lot of excitement, and a lot of people try to jump on board and see if they can make it work. But we're still seeing down here at the bottom, I think I can't see. I don't know how many are on the front page, but it's like Dahada, Binder of Wills, is still on the top. It's the last card on the top page. The Gitrog monster, Urza Lord High Artificer, Krakashima, Najila is still hanging on. Atraxa, Stella Lee, Marnius Calgar.
No one has played Najila in about 7 years, and yet it has 66 entries somehow. It's incredible.
Yep, they keep printing it. Hoping new players will jump into cEDH. Yuriko has more entries than Najila does. Derevi, these things are very well established at this point, so it's hard for new cards to like really crack in and make.
How do we make a cEDH tournament that only uses the bottom of this page? Because how interesting would it be? Like these bottom 10 or 20 are the only decks that are like allowed in the tournament. How much fun that would be, how much diversity that brings. I think that's exciting.
If you were to cut it off at Yuriko and the Wandering Minstrel, to say like Yuriko, Wandering Minstrel, Marnius Calgar, Brigid, Atraxa, Stella Lee, Tavishzat Thrasios, Najila, the Green Goblin, Urza, Krakashima, Gitrog, Bjorna, and Warnog, which is Baby Blue, and then Timna Malcolm, Cabbage Merchant, and Dahada. All of those, that's all you're able to play. Get at it.
Be the change you want to see in this world. Start brewing some cEDH. If you're listening to this, welcome back. We're the MoxStars podcast. We've missed you. We're excited for you to be listening to this. Pick up one of these and take it to your next Commander night.
Absolutely. We hope you have enjoyed this most recent episode of the MoxStars podcast. We are hoping to be recording regularly again and be in your earwaves all the time. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms, where you can leave us a 5-star review to make us look super duper cool. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead, like Matt Goyen, Definitely Jeremy, Mono Greg, UWP Quird, Will Rule, Poolboy Barry, Ryan G, and Adam. You can also join the MoxStars fan club, have your name turned squirt green, quick, like person. And let's see, you can also find our tokens on our Etsy store. We mentioned it at the top of the show, but if you're here all the way at the end, thank you for listening. You can find these sick tokens on our Etsy page, found in the description below. Monarch food tokens. The food tokens are friggin' sick, by the way.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure if you have your hands on any yet, Rampage, but they are super sick. And goblins, zombies, and I think the zombie might be my favorite that we've made in a while. We're working on a trigger token, going through the final details of that, and we'll have that produced very, very soon for everyone to take a look at on the Etsy store. So, any final thoughts, Rampage, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to give you kudos during your $50 budget Ford Explorer deck. This was the first time I've read Back to Nature.
Yeah.
I didn't know this card existed. 1 mana, or 1 in a green for an instant that says destroy all enchantments. How am I told about this for the first time?
Yeah, you want to know why I'm playing it?
Because it's dope and nobody kills enchantments.
And Annihilator is playing Earl the Miststalker.
Sure.
So I'm literally just playing it to screw him over. But you're right. Nobody interacts.
Is it Patriarch Scorn? Is that the name of it? Hold on. Slight pause.
Yeah. In Naya, it was hard to find like cards that interacted on a budget with the entire table in a meaningful way. And so when I was building vehicles, I was just like, well, I'm not really having a lot of enchantments, so I might as well lean in here and see what I can do.
Patrician's Scorn is 38 or 28 cents. Throw it in.
I don't even know what that does.
4 mana instant, destroy all enchantments, but if you played another white spell this turn, you can cast it for free.
Whoa. Whoa. Yo, dude. Yo. Whoa.
Write that in your notebook.
Bro, I could cast my commander and then go straight up Patrician's Scorn, bro. Yo, okay, so last thought before we get out of here. Sorry, all of your listeners, but this is an important one.
More last thoughts.
Yeah, more last thoughts. This is one I've had in my brain for a while, and it's good to just get it out on air. I think I need to take a trip to Turkey. I need to take a trip to Turkey. You want to know why?
Please tell me.
I need hair plugs. I need a sexy pillow of hair up here. For the MoxStars podcast to be successful, look at all the other podcasters out there. They all have sexy hair.
Sure.
Man, this is the reason. This is why, they're all like wildly successful. Look at Leonard Williams. Look at all of his hair. He's got tons of hair. Look at Dylan and Camp. They got tons of hair, dude. Look at us. We got obviously not a lot on me. Yep. You can grow yours out. I think you have you can grow a mane.
Yeah, it just gets all poofy. For 7 cents a day, you can buy MoxStars tokens to help Menace here afford a trip to Turkey to fill in those airplane runways.
Okay, well that means we're done with the show. And we're out of here. Bye-bye. Peace.